Hi everyone, and congratulations on getting your lower limb kit. We are going to look at just 5 exercise examples that you can do straight away using your kit, which will help strengthen the powerhouse of our movement, which is the hips and pelvis. So I've popped my leg straps on. They're about midway through the thigh with the clips on the outside. I'm going to use my red band. So I place the slightly longer one connecting the 2 front clips and my slightly shorter one connecting the 2 rear clips. And we are going to start off by looking at one of our foundational movements, which is the squat. So we're going to pop our feet about hip width here. Just have a little bend and find out where your hip creases are. And that's where we're going to be bending from. So we're going to fold here in the hips and then just lower down towards the floor. In our squat position, we want to push against the band so that our shins track over our feet. So we want to avoid squatting in this position. I want you to think really wide into the back of the hips as well. So we're going to squat down and come up. Just keeping a very nice light connection against the band as you go, which will just keep the muscles on the side of the hip buzzing along with activity here. From side on, spine is long, hips traveling back, and then come up again. So we have this view, not this one, and not this one. So picture, we bend into the hips and then lower the hips down again. Beautiful work. Now you might want to take this squat movement traveling. So if I come over here, I'm going to push out against the band, squat, come up, bring this leg in. Out, squat, come up, bring it in. And I think I can manage a third one here in my house. Coming in, back again. Out, squat, come up, join, out, squat, come up, join, out, squat, come up and join. And hopefully you can feel how that's just energizing the muscles around the pelvis. So that's your squat exercise. The next exercise we're going to look at is a lunge. So the lunge is very much like kneeling backwards and onto the floor. And we're going to start with a rear lunge. So feet together, take the leg back, resting on the toes, bend both knees, and we're coming down as if you're going to kneel, and then come up again. Now you might want to start your lunging with your feet placed and keeping them there. So you can just come slowly down and up again. Keep a little sense of press against the band the whole time. If you're used to lunging, you might want to come back and come in again. Take your leg back and come in. The majority of my weight is on this front foot. So I'm really traveling downwards through this lead leg and lead foot. I'm not traveling backwards onto the rear leg. You can then alternate your legs. So you might have rear lunge, center, rear lunge, center, coming back, coming up, coming back, and coming up. And that is your rear lunge progressions. You can also take the movement forwards. This is your next step up, as traveling forwards and back requires a bit more stability. So we might come into the lunge and come back again. Into the lunge. And each time working against the band, so we see this and not this. So constantly working here against the band to improve your pelvic stability and hip control. Happy training with the lunge. This next exercise is called a skater, and we use it a lot in clinic to help with firing up the side of the hip. So I'm going to get you to imagine you were literally on a little scooter We're going to bend into the hips. You can hold your pelvis, or you can imagine that you are on a scooter. We're going to transfer the weight this way and then scooter your way back and out. The leg is driving back in a diagonal direction. If you want to take the leg behind you, you can. It's not wrong. And if you want to take the leg directly to the side, you can. It's not wrong. Or you might want to work side, diagonal, back, coming up. What we're looking for here is for the pelvis to remain stable. So if you watch here, my spine remains long, pelvis remains stable, sitting into this hip backwards, right into my crease. I'm not rotating as the leg goes. Watch that the band doesn't pull your knee in. You want to be pushing against the resistance. Out, out. If you feel like you want to come up and down with each leg, you can, or you can go for the burn and stay down on your little scooter, cycling around the park. Enjoy that exercise. Enjoy your travels. These next two exercises are going to be down on the floor. We've got one on our back and one in side lying. The first one, we're going to look at bridging. Great exercise to fire up the back of the body. So lying on your back, if you need to, you can pop a little cushion or towel under your head. We want to keep the head in neutral. Feet are going to be parallel, thighs parallel, knees to the ceiling. You're going to then drive your heels down into the floor, squeeze the bottom and lift up off the mat, and then lower again. So just start initially getting a good connection between your feet and your hips. Feet push down, hips lift up and lower. And we're just keeping a mild press against the band here to help us keep our thighs parallel. We're going to then, when we get to the top, rotate the thighs, and so we have a push out against the band. So up we come, rotate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and lower. Now, slightly less glamorous angle for you, but I'm going to show you from here. We come up, the thighs rotate, come together. So if I can encourage you to think of the thighs rolling in the sockets as opposed to just moving the knees out rapidly, we'll get a nicer recruitment at the back of the hips. And you should feel this exercise at the back and also maybe a little bit deeper at the back of the hip there with our hip core muscles. So that's a bridge, and then adding in some rotation at the top of that movement. Remember, if you want this to be a little bit harder, this particular exercise, you can just change your band, or your leg straps can move a little bit closer to the knees. Enjoy! Our next exercise is going to be lying on our side. Make sure you are pain-free when lying on the side. If you have anything here, such as a gluteal tendinopathy or bursitis, don't do this exercise. So we're going to find a long lying position. Our thighs are going to be parallel, and then I'm going to extend the top leg away. Have a sense of really lengthening the leg out of your body. You have an arch in the underneath waist, and then I want you to picture rolling forwards off a wall. So we're going to rest on the hand here, and then we're just going to draw the leg up and lower. It's a slow movement, and we should feel it here at the top of the hip. I want you to check that your leg is in line with your body and that you're not working with your leg forwards of the body, which will encourage too much activity at the front of the hip. Maybe think of leading this movement up and down from your heel. So gliding up and coming down, gliding up and coming down. Nice and slow. I can already feel a really good burn in the muscles here on the side of my hip. Remember, we are only looking for this sense of working, not a sense of pain. You might want to hold. You can do little pulses if you want to. You can also change the orientation of the leg by rotating it in the socket. Now this is coming from the hip, lifting up and lowering, and rotating in. So now my heel does the lifting and my toes are in. So they are just two other variations that you can do with this side lying exercise. And I'm sure, as you can feel, it really works the side of the hips nicely. Remember though, if this is causing you pain, just initially try and tweak where you are positioned. And if it still hurts, don't do this exercise and maybe seek advice from your medical practitioner. Enjoy strengthening the side of the hips.